How many times have you started what you thought would be a normal, routine day that ended like this? It happens to us all. More than a few of us have spent many restless hours wondering how we got into such a mess. What went wrong? How can the situation be corrected and prevented from happening again, whether it's an equipment problem or a problem involving personnel? Of course, we could be talking about one of many problems and one of many causes, but let's narrow it down to just one: communication, the flow line of understanding. Hardly a day goes by that there isn't some type of communication mix-up in the field. Let's take a look around and see if anything that's happening would interest us. This is Joe Glass, a new roughneck on one of the drilling rigs. A new man on a new job has lots to learn, and during his first few days on the job, Joe was told lots of things by the other men, the driller, and the tool pusher. One day, Joe was called to help condition the mud. But before he reached the mud house, the tool pusher called him aside to talk to him about mud handling. Joe was told to be careful when you're treating the mud with chemicals, particularly caustic. When you're handling caustic, said the pusher, be sure always to check the wind direction so that the caustic won't blow on you. Wear protective equipment such as goggles, rubber apron, and rubber gloves. These items will keep you from getting burned seriously. Well, mud conditioning was started, and of course, Joe went right to work. What happened? He was burned seriously around the eyes. He hadn't worn the protective equipment and hadn't bothered to check the wind direction. Was this poor communication? Joe had been told, shown, and warned. The tool pusher had given thorough instructions. For some reason, the message hadn't soaked in. Why? This is Roustabout Bill Brown. He's worked around here for several months. No complaints about Bill or his work. He's always tried hard. One day, the farm boss instructed Bill to go to a certain lease, and the words he used were, take a meter out of service. Well, Bill returned with the meter, and when the farm boss found that Bill had brought the meter with him, he blew his top. He jumped on Bill for being so stupid and told him that the whole job merely consisted of shutting off 3 valves. That was what he meant when he said, take the meter out of service. But Bill did what he thought he had understood the farm boss to say. For some reason, he hadn't gotten the message correctly. Why? Maybe these sound like exaggerated cases, but they actually happened. And other similar cases happen every day. I know that you can recall like examples. But let's consider some other factors in the problem of giving and receiving information correctly. A few careless or misunderstood words that are not clear in their meaning could lead to a lot of trouble. Maybe a fouled-up mud situation on a drilling rig, or a serious injury. Any number of things could happen. And if the truth was known, a great percentage of our troubles could probably be traced to misunderstanding. It may not be a case of unclear meaning of the spoken word only. It could be that the information wasn't written clearly, leaving you just as confused as before. It could be the manner in which the order or instruction was given was not acceptable to the men. For instance, if the man in charge is not getting along with his men, anything he says, no matter how important, is brushed off by the men. And of course, there are many other reasons that we could mention. Where does communication start and where does it end? Well, that's a good question. And let's see if we can figure it out. We all know that major decisions and policies are made here and are carried out by all departments, branches, divisions in a company, right on down the line. However, important decisions are made at this field level too. but they generally involve the group concerned with that particular department. Other decisions involving a yet smaller group may be made here, and so on down through the organization. Now, how are all these decisions coordinated? Primarily through a well-planned communication system. Management relies on this man, the supervisor, to get the job done, to convey the right information to his men. But communication works two ways. It's the supervisor's job to get the information back up the line through the various levels of management, clear to the top. It is only in this way that everyone is kept informed. What kind of information are we talking about? Well, one type of information is a daily drilling report. Some others are production reports, equipment order sheets, maybe work improvement suggestions or new safety suggestions. All are forms of information, but all are useless unless they are understood, remembered, relayed correctly, and used the right way by the right people. How important it is that we convey the right information with the right meaning. In order to have decisions and policies carried out, the supervisor must receive and give information. The success of the job or policy depends greatly on how well the supervisor understands and the manner in which he gets across the ideas and information to his men. If the correct attitude has been established among the workers, an attitude for wanting to learn and do things correctly, the supervisor's job is much easier. This is true at all levels of the company. Efficiency depends on how much information is given and the manner in which it is given. But don't forget that someone has to be listening to what is said, and the supervisor should make sure that he is understood. The oil industry is a big one, composed of hundreds of companies. Why is it that so many of these companies can operate so efficiently? Is communications an important part? How big a part does it play in any company operation? You remember the cases of Joe Glass and Bill Brown. Who actually was at fault in these cases? What causes communications to fail? Is there a remedy? What can we as supervisors do to improve communications among our men?